Hey guys, it's the Infamous here. Before we jump into tonight's episode, I gotta tell you about our sponsor, Audible. Audible gives you access to hundreds of thousands of audiobooks that you can listen to wherever it's convenient for you. Use our link, audibletrial.com/infamous, and not only do you get a free 30-day trial of the service, but you also get a free audiobook compliments of the show. So head to audibletrial.com/infamous, get yourself a book, and get some money back into the show. Enjoy tonight's episode.
Okay, hi. You're listening to Infamous Chronicles. Yeah. Love you, Dad.
All right, welcome to tonight's episode of the Infamous Chronicles. We are wrapping up our three-part episode 99 tonight, our farewell conspiracy series to our friend Todd. We're also introducing our newest team member tonight, and your topic is going to be Heaven and Afterlife and Angels. So, not quite a conspiracy, but a theory nonetheless. This is the Infamous Chronicles. Here we go.
Turn down for what?
Do you even know what's going on?
This is the Infamous Chronicles.
The Infamous Chronicles.
Featuring the infamous
Aggie Rocks,
Casey Moran,
Firefox,
P-Sack,
The Jester,
Scotty G,
and Gina.
Wait, what are we doing?
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
The Infamous Chronicles starts right now.
All right, welcome to the Infamous Chronicles. Your roster tonight is going to be myself, the infamous Todd.
Hello.
Chevy is back.
Hi.
And we were really excited to introduce our newest team member. If you may have recognized her from Sons of Anarchy, she's a former ring girl. She's also arguably the coolest celebrity we've ever met. And ladies and gentlemen, Natalie Skyy.
Wow. Thank you. What's up?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
So Natalie actually already recorded a episode with us, and then I ruined it. So she already premiered, but this is her premiere to you guys. So welcome.
How'd you ruin it?
Chester left the mics turned off. I was just taking ownership for it because they say, like, you know, a leader is responsible for the mistakes of his team. But so that was me calling myself a leader. Sorry. I digress. But so we've been covering 3 episodes. This is the third one, episode 99. The first one we covered ghosts. The second one we covered flat earth and lizard people. And Augie Rocks did a great job hosting. He hasn't hosted in a while. He did a really good job. And so tonight we're going to wrap up this conspiracy series with a topic that isn't a conspiracy, but it's a theory nonetheless. And it's arguably probably the most debated theory in the history of mankind. And that is whether or not there is a heaven and a hell, and how each of us individually are impacted and feel about that, and any experiences or thoughts we have on the existence of angels. And recently I lost a friend. Natalie has lost 2 people in her life recently. So everyone is adept to losing someone. So I think we're all going to bring unique perspectives to it. One of the most important rules, as always, is that everyone on here is entitled to their own individual opinion, and we respect the opinions of everyone on our team. But we invite you to disagree with them on all of our social media channels, share your thoughts, and most importantly, do your own research, formulate your own opinion. That's all we ask. We're not here to tell you the facts. We're just here to share our thoughts. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So, Todd, since you're the star of this series. Yeah. So let's start with you. So I know a little bit about your background, but I don't think religion is something we like keep as a taboo topic on this show that we don't get talked about. So for you personally, I guess let's start with this. When were you first exposed to the thought of a heaven and a hell, and how has that exposure evolved in your process now as you've grown up to be an adult?
Well, religion was first presented to me when I was really young. I used to go to like Sunday school with my grandparents and stuff. So they were Catholic at the time, but as I got older, like we didn't go like all the time, like a lot of people would go. But I went to a high school that was like all Mormon.
Really?
So I've been privy to a bunch of different religions around those kind of people and stuff like that. So my whole high school was Mormon, and part of their class, one of their classes that everybody took was a seminary class that was like right across the street where they walked over to the church, you know? Mm-hmm. And so it's funny how so many different religions they're different in so many different ways, but the same in so many ways. And it's funny, and that's where people don't really realize, and they really get deeper into it, is the fact that the things that are the same, or the similarities, are the things that are written from ancient times that became a belief.
Right.
And the things that are different are the things that man put into it. You know, so like Mormons, they don't believe in like drinking caffeine, or you have to donate
Wearing proper underwear.
Right. You have to donate a certain percentage of your paycheck to the church.
Yeah.
And, you know, so everyone has their different beliefs on how you're supposed to live your life, but
What about
it's all the same
for you now that you're a father? Has that like, do you question it more or less now?
Well, my decision was for myself was that anything is possible, and to me, if I'm a good person, I'm good to anybody else. And if there is such a thing as a heaven or a hell, why wouldn't I be allowed to go to heaven if I was good? To ever, you know, I don't do you wrong. I'm a good person. Live my life good. Who's to say I can't go to heaven because I cussed or you know, something stupid like that? Yeah. But my kids, I want them to be able to make their own decision as well.
Very smart.
And the issue I have with like baptizing them to a certain religion or taking them to certain churches and stuff is because it's all propaganda. You know, they try to suck you into their beliefs because they need your income. They need that's how they make their money. Right. Tax-free buildings that get paid by you donating your money to them by shoving their beliefs down your throat. So for them, I'll support whatever they decide, but as long as they make their own informative decision, you know?
Okay. Fair enough. So what about you, newcomer over here, newbie on the mic? So you've obviously had an interesting life, ending up on a show like Sons of Anarchy. So for you, when were you first exposed to the concept of a heaven and hell, and how has your acceptance or denial of it kind of evolved as you've matured as an adult? By the way, I'm addressing Natalie I'm doing bad radio. I'm pointing at you, but no one knows that. Sorry.
I get it.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised under any type of religion or spirituality whatsoever. My dad kind of just shunned upon that. He's definitely, I feel, an atheist. He won't talk about it or say it, but, you know, it's definitely loud and clear. I think I really started digging in and kind of doing my own research and exploration after one of my first exes passed away. That kind of opened my interest into heaven and hell and all of that.
How so?
Just because I felt like he was taken, and I was so angry, and I was going through this, you know, grieving process that I didn't understand. I was 23 when it happened. And, you know, I'm 31 now, so looking back on it, I can see like that was a lot to take at 23. And took a lot of blame, took a lot of guilt, and just was trying to search for answers. And I don't believe we're here to be punished. Like, I don't think life is supposed to be hard and miserable. Like, I think we're here to learn and to love and to work together and grow.
A lot of people find their religious faith or some kind of spirituality when they lose somebody, you know, so, and they kind of look for answers, and that's where spirituality and religion comes into play for a lot of people that find it late in life because they lost somebody and they need to find an answer for it. Like, where do they go? What happened to them? Are they okay? Like, they have to have a belief that something's there for when they pass. You know, my wife's cousin was one of my best friends, and he passed away at the same year that my cousin passed away. It was like a big brother of mine. And so those questions go through your mind, and to me, I feel like we're all energy, and energy just keeps going. Like, energy never dies. It just keeps going. It just passes on to the next thing. So those people that we loved, and even ourselves, when we pass, we just move on to something else. You know, it's almost like reincarnation in a way, but in a universe as a whole. But what I have a problem with religion is because they take that factual thing and turn it into something else to take your money from you.
But do you think you have to be religiously accepting in order to have a acceptance of heaven and hell? Do you think that they have to be hand in hand?
No, I think that you should be able to find your own spirituality. And I think that's what a lot of people are calling the awakening that's happening right now. Is because people are becoming more awake of like what's really going on in this world.
Right.
What's really happening. All this crap that they've been feeding us and shoving down our throats isn't really true. And it's all a manipulation of way to be able to control you. And so they talk about the big awakening.
Right.
And so that's kind of what's happening now. So absolutely not. You can have your own belief about anything. It doesn't matter, and and the difference is your belief is your belief and you don't push it on to other people.
Yeah.
You can talk about it and maybe people will go and find their own education and that's all you can hope for, but you can't push it on them. And that's where we become divided and that's where wars start because we're right, you're wrong.
Well, Natalie, when you had your friend pass away, did it put you in a position where you rejected the concept of heaven and hell or embraced it more?
I think at first I kind of pushed it away. And then when it happened again, the second time, I lost somebody that I was seeing like 4 years and 2 weeks apart from the first one. Then I kind of was more open to it. And I completely agree. I ended up just loving the fact that we're energy. Energy doesn't you can't just cut it off. It can't just disappear. It doesn't end.
That leads us to you, dear.
Oh boy.
The Chevy, the one that had to Google what angels were.
I didn't have to Google what angels were. I just had to Google some other things.
So you admitted to me off air that you had no kind of like religious exposure.
I'm not religious. I'm Jewish by blood.
Okay.
I'm part of the tribe. But, I was bat mitzvahed and I went to Hebrew school for a year to do that, but.
Wait.
Yeah.
Girls get bat mitzvah?
Bat mitzvah's for a girl, bar mitzvah's for a boy, and then for twins it's like a b'nai mitzvah.
I want to have one of those because it sounds unique.
I mean, you would have to convert, but it's a long process.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. You've seen what Jesus has done to the Jews over the history of time?
Oh.
I'm good on that.
Well.
Thanks.
Anyway.
So, with no exposure or, raising in a religious background, so how do you, do you believe in a heaven and a hell?
I mean, I feel like, yeah, I guess.
Is it more of like a hope that there has to be more to this?
No, I don't think it's a hope. It's just, I was raised by a hippie and a bohemian artist. So like everything was just like, okay, well, we're going to do Hanukkah, we're going to do Christmas, but really we don't give a fuck about it. So you can just do whatever you want. But my mom, presents, yay! My mom's really spiritual and, she's really into planets and gemstones and all that stuff. And Natalie, you were talking earlier about Joshua Tree and that whole thing, the name I totally forgot. What is it?
Integratron.
Thank you. I was going to say Megatron, but I know that's wrong. But what Natalie was saying about how basically everything's all connected, your energy and everything like that, you die and your body's it's just a vessel and everything else kind of goes elsewhere. You don't know where it goes, but I know it goes somewhere. It has to go somewhere because otherwise you wouldn't get messages. You wouldn't get dreams about loved ones that you've lost. And my dad died 6 years ago and I still get messages from him. And one of my best friends died 10 years ago and I still get messages from him, but it's not, I don't think it's a religious thing. It's just like, oh, okay, they're saying what's up. That's cool.
There's
Whatever.
a big difference between religion and spiritual.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where a lot of people are starting to realize is that they try to intertwine the two, but they're completely different. Religion is nothing but a cult. You pay money to
that's
be
the bad
a part of
of
something.
Spirituality.
Call your dad. You're in a cult.
Yeah, you're in a cult, man. That's all it is. But if you're spiritual, it's different. And so when you talk about heaven and hell, do you believe in heaven and hell? I think it's misconstrued that as we talk about energy, well, energy is positive or negative. So if you're a positive person,
so heaven isn't a place in the clouds and hell isn't an
exactly.
eternal inferno.
It's more of what's your energy like when you die? How was your life? What did you do?
Well, yeah, but think about like purgatory. That's a Catholic thing, right?
Yep.
I
Yes, it
Googled
is.
that.
Yes.
I made sure I Googled that to make sure it was
That's the
right.
first thing that came up.
You got one big word. You're like, that's a big word.
Purgatory.
Purgatory.
Actually, I Googled purgatory and then purgatory pizza showed up next to it. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to Google that later.
So that's a free plug for you, Purgatory Pizza.
Purgatory pizza.
You're welcome.
But my dad committed suicide 6 years ago. So if I were religious, then I would believe that he would be in purgatory.
Right.
But I'm not, and I think that's kind of dumb.
With your dad's passing, did it open your heart and mind more to the possibility of energy after life, or were you already there?
Well, my idea of afterlife is that scene in Beetlejuice where they're all in the waiting room waiting to move on.
If only that was afterlife.
That's all
Take
I'm
your
thinking
number.
about. Yeah. Take your number. We'll get to you when you're ready. But that's my idea of afterlife. No, just I lost my train of thought because Todd's wife made a really funny gesture. You guys are distracting. You said you wouldn't be distracting, but you're very distracting. Okay. What was the question?
That's why I had to move
What are we
on
talking
to-
about again?
Oh, no, I was just talking about when your dad passed, if you had more of a sense of spirituality or energy.
Well, I've always had a sense of spirituality. I just didn't really access it, I guess, because my mom, when you grow up with a crazy hippie, no offense, Mom, if you grow up with a crazy hippie who's all about astrology and crystals and just like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde, you don't want to redo that. And I'm like, no, just shut up. So when you grow up with that, I think everything just sounds stupid and you're not accepting of it. But when my dad did pass away, I prioritized my life a lot more.
Oh, that's good.
So I got rid of the boyfriend I had. I tried to move out of my house. Whoops. I changed my jobs. I did stupid things that I probably shouldn't have done. But I knew that the reason he did it was because he had no way out.
Yeah.
And he had to do it. And I understand why he did it. Do I like it? Not really. But I think that he's off and he's looking out for us and he'll show up when he wants to and, that whole thing. But heaven, hell, good and evil, yeah, it's there. But I don't know.
Funny because I find myself believing all growing up, I was in a state of mind where I accepted that there is a heaven and there is a God and that was where my train of thought was.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I've become more cynical to it and more on the train of thought that Todd was mentioning, where I'm like, ugh, religion and this building and these four walls don't define my relationship with a God or whatever word you are comfortable choosing. But I did this last weekend. I had to go to a funeral for a friend of Jester's that committed suicide, and oh my God, it was the saddest thing. I've never met this guy's parents. He's a guy that I went to high school with, and he stayed friends with Jester, so I went to support him. And the mom went up to speak, and it appears that at some point in the recent part of her life, she had a very, very serious stroke. Yeah. Because she was like on a cane and clearly half of her body wasn't functioning right. And so when she went up to try to speak, you could see that she was realizing for the first time that she looked at his picture and you could see that she was realizing that for the first time that he was dead.
Oh God.
And it was like, oh my God. And she's just, to the best of her ability, expressed how she was feeling. And like, it's crazy that it's easy to accept, in my opinion, that the train of thought, like, oh, heaven was created to make death easier, which is entirely possible. But for me, like, I'm kind of a little bit of everything everyone said, where like, I actually find it easier to accept negative spirits exist than positive ones because I don't really believe in the concept of heaven per se. But I do struggle with like reincarnation. I think energy is a little bit easier to accept. And I have had personal experiences, as I shared in the past, about like ghosts in this house. Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to accept that there is a form of afterlife, but I do struggle with, especially since I've become a dad, like with that heaven is like Care-a-Lot. And it's this fucking paradise in the clouds where you spend all eternity worshiping the same person. And I'm not bashing on, if that's your prerogative, then I'm all for it. But that's just kind of where I've like evolved to mentally. And then it's sad because I get sad about it because I'm like, I want to believe in something because it definitely makes my life more inspiring.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, it's all for nothing. And I like, when people say that, I'm like, ugh, gross.
Well, it's also an easy thing if you're a kid for your parents to tell you, like, oh, okay, well, Grandma and Grandpa's in a better place now. They're in heaven and this is where they're going to hang out. And
It's all good
Hang
up
out
there.
with Prince and David Bowie, and
And there's AC.
there's AC all the time. It's never hot.
Unlimited subscription. So I don't know. That's kind of what I was struggling with. And then like, I talk to people that are very religious, not spiritual, religious. And like every time I have a conversation with them, like I try not to judge people, and I try not to. I take pride in being a person that tries not to say things about people that I wouldn't be willing to say directly to their face. Not in a negative way, just in a like, if I care about you, I should say what I'm feeling. And if I don't, then I should definitely say what I'm feeling. But like, as far as people telling me recently, like, oh, like the three lines I can't fucking stand. God has a plan. It happened for a reason. Or something to the tune of like, don't worry, it'll get better.
Don't rub me when you say "don't worry, it'll get better."
I'll rub you when it's Tambo, please. But yeah, like those 3 lines for me, I'm just like, ugh. Instantly, I'm like set off. I'm like, ugh, how dare you tell me God has a plan for me? What do you know? And so, I don't know. That was a cynical rant. Sorry.
This is how I figure. I'm gonna. This is my new motto. Is we'll figure it out when we get there. That's my new motto.
I agree.
Like, what are we gonna do later? We'll figure it out when we get there.
When Todd was like, I believe that if there is a heaven, I'll get in because I've been a good person.
Right.
I subscribe to that too because it's like, I know it's going to sound super lame, but I literally just shared it today. So I was listening to this old Ludacris song, and he says, one of his lines, I know it's Ludacris, shut up. But he says, why tiptoe through life to arrive at death safely?
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, it's so true. It's like, and for me, the way I took it was like, people like, the Bible says, the good book says, you gotta do this, and hate gays, and all pregnant women are bastards if they abort their kids, and all these things. And it's just like, ugh, this clearly is not religion. This is agenda.
This is something else.
It's not.
Well, here's the thing: is like if you
Natalie's like, what
if
the
you really
fuck
think
did I
about
get
it,
into?
right? You just
Not at
watch
all.
the
Like,
Twilight Zone.
I did not know we were going here.
Anyway, so here's the thing: like if you sit there and you think about all the different religions that are out there, right? So if you sit there and you practice Mormonism, and Muslim religion was the true, real religion, well, you're fucked because you're not Muslim. You're going to go to hell,
Right?
Right? And if you're Muslim, but Mormonism was the true, real religion, well, you're fucked because you're Muslim. It doesn't matter how much you prayed or worshipped or did anything like that. Well, you worshipped and prayed to the wrong God, right? So you're going to go to hell. And that's what each one of these religions believes about each other. Is you don't believe in my faith and my God, so therefore you're damned to hell. You're worth nothing.
Yeah.
You're
it's like the only law they can
infidel.
all agree on is there's only one God.
There's only one God,
Yeah.
and it's their God.
Yeah.
Well, if that's true, then a very small percentage is going to make it to heaven.
That's true.
But here's the thing. I think the biggest evolutionary thing that our species can do is stop being afraid of death and grasp the fact that we, as you said, we're on a ride. It's life. Don't be.
Yeah, but the terrifying thing about death, why it scares people, is because we are a society that demands self-control.
With self-control, and you want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But know that you don't know, and don't be afraid of it, and grasp your life and live it the way you want it to live, knowing that one day it's not going to be.
Right.
Instead of being afraid of it, grasp it that it's going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us.
Well, it comes down to like the simple things like taking chances in life or believing in yourself. Like all that comes back to fear and fear of death and fear of, it's like we're programmed to doubt ourselves.
Yeah.
And the end result, the grand prize is maybe there's a heaven. That's the fucking outline for life.
Prize. But
The ego.
Instead of trying to get into heaven or whatever heaven it is that you believe in, just
well, Keys, there's not a point system.
right. Just do good.
You just got to tally in your closet.
It's not like Todd and I are going to get
not.
shit-faced and both get in an accident together, and we're going to get up there, and God's going to be like, "Oh, Todd, I'm really sorry. Jay has 31 points, and you only have 29."
Yeah,
He's like,
you're fucked.
Oh no,
the buzzer rang, bro. You didn't hit it.
I'm going to be like, "Told you weren't on the show anymore, Todd. Get the fuck out of here."
Done.
Natalie, what do you think about all this as the noob? Like, where's your brain at with
The
this
noob.
discussion so far? She's noob.
I
for the
feel
whole
like
episode.
honestly, I feel like I have 2 brains. I have like my brain that will be like, God, I miss them so much, and I'll cry and like kick and scream and be angry about it. And then I have the other brain that's like, it's energy. Like I know that for a fact, And for me, I got to the point where I was so angry where I was like, prove it. I started asking for
Prove
stuff.
it which way?
Show me, like, make some stuff happen. Do something that you can't explain that I've never seen before, and I had stuff happen, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. So Chevy kind of hinted at it. So you had an experience today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so give us kind of like a little bit of insight about that because it's relative to the topic, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to hear Natalie's adventure for the day. So we will be right back on the Infamous Chronicles.
This is
First, take a big step back.
the Infamous Chronicles.
And literally fuck your own face!
The Infamous Chronicles.
Hey fellas, do you need to get some flowers? I mean seriously, did you mess up with your lady? Forget something special? She's got something you gotta congratulate her on? You wanna just tell her how much you love her? Guys, seriously, all smart moves. What's not smart is not saving 15% on your flowers. Head over to our sponsor, bouquetinabox.com. They are grown here in California, all natural, delivered very promptly with this private message, and it will hook you up on the good side of your lady again. Use our promo code INFAMOUS, that's infamous, and you save 15% off your first order. It's so easy. Bouquetinabox.com. Use our promo code INFAMOUS, get yourself some brownie points, and save some money. Back to the show.
Now,
What did you say?
back to the Infamous Chronicles.
I said you look shitty.
Okay, and we're back. Sorry to cut you off. We got to pay the show. We got to pay the electricity
Welcome
bills.
back.
Sponsors are there.
And we're back.
So, okay, so carry on with your story. I'm sorry. So your experience today, enlighten us.
So I'm into sound healing recently, just because the same energy kind of thing. So using crystal.
Don't think you're going to get anyway with not explaining that.
Crystal bowls, crystal gongs, old, the big
singing
gongs.
bowls.
Yeah, singing
Yeah.
bowls, all that. You lay there, awesome, beautiful instrument. Crystal chimes. I mean, the rain sticks. What are they? The didgeridoos.
Believe it or
all
not,
of those.
you met Augie last time you were here, right? Big guy with the red beard?
Yes.
He legitimately can play a didgeridoo. It is one of the dumb things.
You should
he
have
knows
him
how to-
bring it next week, and then
really,
we can listen to it.
Totally.
Just serenade you two?
Yeah.
Into submission? Like,
You and I, we can just like hang out on some yoga mats, and then
Kumbaya.
Augie could just play the didgeridoo, and we'll just chill out.
he'll be stoked because it'll be the first time in his 29 years of life that a
That
female
girls
has
have asked
ever
him to
asked
play the didgeridoo.
to be serenaded.
Yes,
by the didgeridoo.
absolutely.
He's going to lose his fucking mind. So, okay, so you're into sound therapy recently.
Yeah, sound healing. So there's a spot out in Joshua Tree, or above Joshua Tree, it's in Landers, California, where they have this energetic force field. They built this neat little building. It's called Integratron. And it actually wasn't built to be a sound bath, but because the creator, the guy who was getting, this information telepathically, he says, to build this energetic time machine that he felt, could do total cell rejuvenation, change your DNA.
Wow.
All sorts of wild spiritual stuff. But what I learned today that was really cool is it's on the same axis as the Bermuda Triangle and the pyramids.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's
and
so
then
wild.
and then when you go down and break it down to like a looking number wise, like of the exact measurements of how far it is and how high, and it's mind blowing. I'll send you an article about it. It's just
That's crazy.
yeah.
So what did you take from the experience?
Well, the energy was just amazing out there. I mean, it's makes you feel like you're this big when you're standing next to this huge rock. And the story with the rock is there's just this granite boulder. It's the largest freestanding boulder in the world. And from the 20s, there had been different shamans that would go out there and pray. And they were saying that eventually the rock was going to split. If it split one direction, it was saying that, it's not taking our prayers or our, answers from humanity, whatever we're asking for, and it's going to cause more havoc. And if it breaks the other way, it's going to be breaking with the tectonic plates, and it was going to be releasing pressure.
That's a lot of pressure right there.
So it ended up breaking the way with the tectonic plates. And I mean, it's a perfect, like, someone took a saw break.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And how long has this stone been there, do you know?
I think he first discovered it in the 50s,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
That's crazy. So that leads me kind of like directly into like my next question. When you, let's start with you, Todd. When you have a conversation with somebody and they start saying things like, energy crystals or sound therapy, or like Augie Rocks' mom bought a property in, I'm sorry, Augie, I don't know where it is. I'm sorry. The desert, specifically because it had healing waters on it. When you go down these roads and people's trains of thoughts, do you find yourself, full disclosure, everyone be truthful, do you find yourself mentally closing off to it like, oh, that's ridiculous? Or do you find there's a place in you that's willing to accept those kind of trains of thought?
I find myself believing more in that than some dude living in a cloud.
Yeah, great answer.
You know, some guy underneath our dirt in fiery hell with horns on his head and wings on his back. That, with the energy and rocks and all that kind of stuff, makes more scientific sense.
I agree.
And that's the thing, is like, people have those what do they call it, like those phenomenons happen to them when they're more open-minded to it. You know, and we talked about that a little bit. I think it was the last episode or whatever, but you talk about your pineal gland, and your pineal gland is your gateway to the heavens, or to the afterlife, or to energy, or to different dimensions, or whatever you want to call it. And our pineal gland is continuously poisoned when we just drink water. You know, our water is polluted with fluoride, and fluoride itself destroys your pineal gland.
Mountain Dew.
It's not like,
Hey, I got a beer.
Way healthier.
right? It's much healthier.
Oh, that was loud.
So
Todd approved.
Here,
Todd
cheers,
approved,
guys.
right?
Jump in this time.
Very good. So that's the thing about it, is like, somebody knows those answers. Somebody knows the truth. And they
Do
hide
you
it
really
from
believe,
us.
though, that there's people on this planet that actually know?
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely,
Does
because
that
there's no
frustrate
reason. Absolutely, it's so frustrating because there's no reason for us to be suffering the way that we suffer. You know, like my wife and I, we have 3 beautiful girls. We take care of them. We work our ass off. We have a home. We have cars. They go to school. They have clothes. We have food. We have all that stuff, and we work our ass off to make all that happen. But why? You know, we do it to provide for our kids and ourselves, but we shouldn't be hurting the way that we hurt. And the people that live on the side of the streets, they shouldn't be living on the side of the streets of the way they live in. The people that own islands, there's no reason for them to own a fucking island.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason for it. Now, I'm not trying to say like communism or something like that, but at the same time, you take care of each other.
Yeah.
We're all the same. We're all the same. We're
all
all flesh and
connected.
blood.
Yes.
You know, there's no color, there's no race, there's no religion, there's no sexuality. We're all flesh and blood.
We're all
and
human
so we
beings.
take care of each other. That's what I talk about. If you're a good person and you're good to each other, it doesn't matter what religion that there is. It doesn't matter what God that there is.
Right.
There's no reason for that person shouldn't let you in because you're a good person. You were good to your neighbor, you were good to yourself, and you lived your life. That's all you can do. And so we're misconstrued and we're poisoned, and somebody does know the answers. We talked about it a couple of times with the Vatican, how they have over a quarter mile underneath their church that they don't release to the public.
Yep.
Why?
And it's a
There's
private
over
society.
16 books or something like that in the Bible that are not released. Why? You know, they pollute your water with fluoride. It does not make your teeth better. Why? You know?
Thank you, by the way, Scotty G, for giving me the non-fluoride toothpaste. I appreciate it.
You know, they spray your freaking your food with chemicals, and it's ridiculous what they do to you.
Genetically modify
You
it.
are an animal to these people that know what the hell's going on.
Don't get him started, Natalie.
Yeah.
Don't go down the
You missed the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. So Natalie, I'm going to propose, I'm going to kind of transition the conversation and give you kind of a tough one, okay? So for you, 31 years old, strong, independent female, when you see people that are like really struggling in life, Todd mentioned like people living on the side of the street, or women that are abused, or men that are torn down by their spouses. There's a lot of different ways to be belittled as a human being. When you see that, and if they aren't or you aren't a person in spirituality or in religion, how do you find is the best way to motivate somebody that there's a meaning to this pain if they aren't willing to accept that there's energy or an afterlife?
I think you can give them the tools, you can plant the seeds, but ultimately they have to want to do it. They have to want to do that work, because that's exactly what I went through. You know, I did not have or do not have the greatest of fathers. You know, and I know that played into a lot of things, for sure, what made the deaths of the boyfriend so much worse was because I didn't have any positive male you know, figures. So having one and then having it taken away repeatedly was awful. But I had to go through that.
Now you have 5
You know?
positive males in your life.
I know.
Right.
I won. I hit
You
the
hit the
jackpot.
male positivity jackpot.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you get offended when people who are more or less more religious than you come at you with comments like "it'll be okay" or "God has a plan" or questions like that? Does that bother you?
No, because I really believe that it does have to happen for a reason. If I didn't have Charles and Stephen die, I wouldn't be sitting here with this perspective, you know, and turn around on life the way I have. You know, I probably would have just kept skating through with just like, oh, it's whatever. You know, we're just here.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a great way to look at it. All right, Chevy, your turn.
What?
Ready for another?
What was the question?
Ready? Now I'm giving you another curveball.
Oh, okay.
That was Natalie's curveball. Now you get your
Got
own. So you had a father that chose to take his own life.
Yes.
If you were presented with that with somebody that you cared deeply about, a really close friend or somebody that they love made a similar choice, how would you find is the most uplifting way to present hope to them after a decision like that has been made?
My ex-boyfriend threatened to commit suicide. And, well, I mean, in so many words, he threatened to commit suicide. We were all very drunk. It was not a good night. But I broke down, which probably isn't the best way to do it because it was still kind of fresh on like what happened with my dad. And, I broke down. I wasn't in a good place. And then he threw that at me and I was just out of my mind, just crying and like, why the fuck would you say that to me? Are you fucking kidding me? And just like I wanted him to get out of my fucking house. And I knew I couldn't do that. And then after I sobered up, I asked, did you just say that just to get a rise out of me? And he's like, yeah, I kind of did. I'm like, well, you fucking suck.
Yeah,
we're over.
Totally. That guy sucks.
Yeah, he's terrible. But I mean, I think like back to what Natalie said, seriously, if you want help, you're going to ask for it. You can't help somebody that doesn't want help. As much as if you came up to me and you're like, hey, I'm really unhappy with my life. You know, I'm the type of person that's just going to tell you how it is and be like, well, get the fuck over it. Like, life is great.
Yeah, I would never come to you for help.
No, you would
ever.
never come to me for help.
No.
But a lot of people, they do need help. And like, I'm in therapy. I go to therapy twice a week.
All people should be in therapy.
All people should be in therapy.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure my therapist is in therapy after what I talked to her.
I've been in therapy since I was
Mine
17.
too.
Jeez. Oh man. We should all get our therapists
You
on.
have to be. You have to be.
But you can't, if you want help, you're going to ask for it. And no one can help you unless you actually are accepting of that.
That's so true.
Yeah. So it's just.
All right, group question. First to raise their hand can answer first. How do you differentiate when you're talking to somebody that needs counsel or friendship or whatever word you want to choose? How do you differentiate between hope and spirituality?
You're counseling a
Don't
friend.
be so quick
Don't
to
all go at once.
Counseling
here.
a friend.
You're counseling a friend who's not in spirituality.
Not
How do you
spirituality.
differentiate to them the difference between hope or positivity versus spirituality?
Like trying to help them through something. I just ask them questions.
Great.
That's all I do.
Great advice.
I just ask them like, all right, what's making you unhappy?
Good advice.
Okay, what's going on there?
We'll go counterclockwise. Yeah. Natalie?
I use both. I mean, I kind of use myself as an example just because, you know, there's been a lot of, I haven't had a horrible life, but there's been a lot of hiccups. And just showing them, you know, what the turnaround is. And like I said, it's planting the seed. Let them choose. I give options, you know, here's a few different books or here's a few different, you know, classes or
Sorry.
Natalie's over here.
We had a moment. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're making wildly
No, you gotta give
inappropriate
people-
sign language gestures.
you got to give people options. Like I know one of my best friends, they're still grieving over, you know, her grandmother passing away. So I helped her look into some grief support groups and then gave her some other, you know, spiritual based books that might.
Did helping somebody
that's
that
good.
you know through death help you go through your own grievances with the death in your life?
I think I had to go through mine before I could help anybody else.
But
I think
after
I'm
helping these
just-
people, does it help you heal more?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because you're always learning. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not learning something new, you know, every day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Todd, where are you at on this?
Well, I mean, obviously it depends on what the situation is and what the people are going through. For me personally, across the board, I try to take it in stages and let them get it out, let them speak, and they feel that they're heard. And that's where a lot of people helps the most, is they just need to get it out. They just need somebody to talk to, They don't, not everyone's looking for an answer. They just
need to vent.
Need to get it out. They need someone to be there to listen to. And if they want my advice and my help, I'm going to do whatever I can for them. But I won't ever push somebody one way or the other. I'll never lead you to my beliefs. I'll never push you on somebody else's beliefs. To each their own. Mm-hmm.
But if only everyone was as strong as that.
If only. And that's the thing, is if everybody was. Yeah. But for me, my advice and my consulting to whoever it is always in a positive manner. Because I'm always like the glass is half full kind of person, because if you get what you put out. So if you're putting out positivity is going to come back to you.
I 1000% agree.
So if you sit there and everybody has their right in their time of mourning or their grief of whatever it is that it is, and
which they alone should determine.
They alone should determine, however long it takes. No one else should tell you how long that should take. That's your own personal thing. And then, regardless of whatever the issue is, you lose your job, a girlfriend, a wife, whatever, right? And then when you're ready, you got to let it out. You got to release it. Release the negative energy out of you. And when it's gone and it's out, you take a deep breath and let the positive energy back into you, and then move forward.
A lot of people, though, first of all, I love your heart and that answer. That's a great answer. But unfortunately, I think that people as a whole, we are trained for doubt, especially self-doubt. And I think that accepting what you just said is probably the most difficult part of going through the grief process, because people want to say what they feel, but a lot of people don't actually want to be helped immediately, if that makes sense. And I'm not condescending on grief at all, because I've taken my own speed at many times, but I do find that, like, when I had friends pass away, is there a spirit?
There's a whistling.
What is that? There's a spirit here.
It's here.
Dad, is that you?
Sorry, I brought him. Did you bring him from Joshua Tree?
Oh, that was so weird. Is it gone? No,
now.
It's still there.
No, it's gone.
It's the computer fan.
Fuck you, computer.
Jesus.
Sorry, it totally.
Another reason why I hate
interrupted.
I hate Apple. I don't even remember what I was going to say. You can't interrupt somebody with ADD. Damn it.
No.
Especially 2 drinks in. No, my point was just going to be that, like, I don't even remember. Fuck me. Shit. Damn it. What was I talking about?
Well,
this is why we shouldn't drink before episodes.
Damn.
You gotta stay on point. Go.
What was the last thing I said? And I
We
get
were
back on
talking
point.
about.
You were having trouble accepting what Todd had said about grieving.
Oh yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I don't know you don't like to be touched.
Please don't touch me. Get out of my bubble.
I know the rules.
Thanks.
It's just that I find a lot of the times, especially, not exclusively too, but especially with men, because of our stubborn nature and our inability to fucking be fragile ever, because it's not macho. But like, I find that a lot of people lose their patience with grief, and they're wanting you to grieve on the terms that they feel are necessary. And a lot of friends create these huge wedges in their friendship because they're rushing grief, or they're like, okay, I'm willing to help you, but fuck,
only
it's
this
Tuesday.
amount of time.
I've been doing this for a week now. I can't do this anymore. And it's like, no, if you're going to jump on the back of that pony with that person, like, you need to ride it till it stops moving. And so many people are left standing with their arms out because the help has walked away.
Yeah.
And, part of that is because we're an impatient society now. We want immediate results. And part of it is our misunderstanding of what it takes to.
But sometimes, like, when people walk away is because the people that are in grief, or whatever it is, the reason that they're in grief for, don't want to get better.
That is
true. They just want to be
sad.
The pity party. They want they feel that that's their relief.
Their identity.
That's what's making them comfortable.
Excuse me.
Is somebody giving them, they go, oh, I'm so sorry, and they keep that going.
But I know a lot of people too that will use their grief to subconsciously sabotage their entire life.
Oh, yeah.
People will.
It's self-destructive.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll glue onto that grief. Like, I have friends that I served with in Iraq. 16 years ago now. And this is going to sound super insensitive, and I don't mean for it to, but they're still talking about these incidents that occurred in our lives 16 years ago. And I understand and I'm willing to accept that it's part of us forever now of who we are. But I still don't need attention about it. I still don't need you to be like, oh, poor Jay.
Yeah. There's things that happen in people's lives, whether you're in war or, you lost a boyfriend or a dad, or you've had things happen to you when you were younger. You can go across the spectrum with those kind of things. And those things will never leave you. It's going to be it's a part of you. But it's a matter of what you do with it. You got to,
Right, you can't let it disable you.
You can't let it disable you. Whereas what you're saying is a lot of people will be self-destructive with it because they won't overcome it. They let it just destroy them inside. You got to take it and deal with your grief, get over it, and move forward, and realize the things that will never leave you, but it's made you who you are.
Yeah.
And look at the positive side of it. There's plenty of things that have happened to me for a long period of time when I was younger, and I choose to not let it destroy me. I choose to make me a stronger person, a better person.
Right.
And
so you grow from the pain instead of letting it define you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that should be in almost everybody's different. So I can't say everybody has to be like that because it's not going to happen. But if only they could, right? And then everybody would learn from their mistakes, their downfalls, the bad things that happen to them, and turn around and make it a positive thing, and be there for those that are going through it the next time. Because then you'll know how to go through it. Yeah. You don't know what it's like to lose a boyfriend until you lose one. Right. You don't know what it's like to lose a child until you lose one. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't walk in somebody's shoes until you walk the shoes. Yeah.
My stepdad, he was in the Vietnam War and he has some serious PTSD. He became an actor shortly after that, and my mom has a type, and he decided to make a one-man show about dealing with his PTSD.
That's so cool.
And it's such a good show. And
but what a way to own your pain.
But that's the thing.
Oh
you
God,
see
it's
these
so good.
speakers that do that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Your dad's a perfect example. Like where you take something so tragic
and turn it into something
positive,
so positive
that he owns other people.
Is he doing it still?
He was doing it last month. I think was the last.
Oh man, I would have loved to.
Next time he does it again, I'll let you guys know because it's incredible. He plays every single person that he met.
But I mean, what a scary
time.
fucking thing to own. And I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's
not cool that he went through that, but it's cool that
but I've seen it twice. The first time without like any special effects or music or anything.
You had to bulge your eyes out.
Oh, of course I did. Because like, first of all, my real dad committed suicide by shooting himself. And at the beginning of my stepdad's play, he has a gun in his hand and he's about to shoot himself. Oof, and he gets a phone call from his daughter.
Oh my God.
Telling him, like, basically talking him off the ledge. So of course, like, I'm about to cry like right now. Like that hits home right there.
Yeah, that's
so just actually being able to take something so negative that happened to you and turning it into something so positive and being able to tell your story is a huge fucking thing. And then you don't really have to talk about it.
Right.
You're like, hey, just come watch my play.
You shared with me recently, Natalie, and I hope you don't mind me putting this to air. I'll be happy to edit it if you don't. But I know that you are currently going through grieving.
Yeah, and through PTSD work, they called it complicated grief, which was basically after the first one happened. It was like a month later. I was with my dad and our family and friends out on the boat, and a song that had come on that they played at the funeral. And I started crying. My dad looked at me and said, "Shut the fuck up. People die. Get over it." And so at that point,
Mr. Skyy sucks.
I think I just like shut down.
Yeah, of course.
And so then, you stuff it, because that's what everyone wants you to do. Everyone wants you to be happy. So you do that. And then when it happened the second time, you stuff it, because I was in Sons.
But when it happened the second time, you must have just been starting to deal with the first one, right?
Well, so it was, 4 years, almost 2 weeks to the exact day. And he was actually with his friends. They were driving to Havasu and wanted to stop and see me. And I was like, no, I'm in a funk because it's near the anniversary of Charles. Like,
plus see me sucks.
Yeah. Don't come by. I'm no fun.
Plus see me sucks.
And he's like, all right, no problem. I'll see you on the way back. And then I got the phone call the next day that he drowned.
Jesus.
So, and then I started filming Sons a month after that.
Was that helpful? Or was it kind of an unhealthy distraction?
No, it was helpful because it was a distraction. But I mean, long term, it wasn't helpful because then
It was a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
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 Would you mind sharing your story of the role you're currently and how it is associated with that, or is that too personal?
With what?
With the role you told me about on the phone when we spoke that you're currently going for.
That I auditioned for?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that one's.
Is that okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Totally. The audition is for, it's a husband who is a heroin addict. He has a daughter who's 8 that he's trying to raise, and he lost his wife. And so they're basically going in flashbacks because his daughter keeps asking about the mom, and the daughter has the same cancer that the mom passed away from. So it's going back, and it's her going through, getting diagnosed with cancer, losing her hair right before they get married, and then up to having a baby and then having the cancer come back and, her passing away in her husband's arms. And it's really hard for me to get to those emotions because of
because you've been blocking
for the PTSD stuff. Yeah. Your body, and I started learning from reading books. There's one called The Body Keeps Score that talks about just the chemical reaction of what happens in the fight or flight when you have, trauma occur. And it's pretty fascinating.
And it's crazy because I'm a really shitty friend. I put the single conversation we've ever had. I've just blasted you all over this show.
It's all good.
Sorry.
Open book.
It's okay. I'll kick his ass later for you.
No, it's
I just hope I get the movie.
I was really inspired when she told me.
Thank you.
And one of the first things we talked about was that, I said, hey, I don't know if you believe in God or the universe or whatever, but there's no way that's a coincidence. And she's like, no way it's a coincidence. I hadn't dealt with this yet. Now I have to deal with it to be able to do this, to go here. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've been
dealing with it, but this is pushing me to that next.
It's a very unique way that the universe has presented you to deal with this incredible loss. And now, through acting or writing or dance or anything, people are able to share emotion with people and help them deal with it
and express themselves.
Yeah,
totally.
So hopefully your role will be something that someone else needs, and all this is just steps towards you making.
It's all a healing process.
Yeah. That's what we're all here for.
You find your own healing process.
We're all here to help each other through this journey. We have it totally backwards. I say it. I say it a few times a day, but stupid humans.
It's too many of them. That's a problem.
That's
our president.
Don't get political. We're not supposed to get political.
Yeah, it's a no political debate.
No political.
It's a deadly, catastrophic combination of these three things: the keeping up with the Joneses mentality, the my life is the only life on this planet that matters mentality, and the mentality of that we are entitled or deserved of anything that we get.
But that's the problem.
And when you combine those three,
is it like that though, is because they make you think that. They make you that way because they divide you up by race. They divide you up by
But that mentality has created the fact that we are the last society that's ever going to live on this planet the way that we know it now.
The way that we know it now, because there's an awakening, and hopefully it changes for the good instead of the bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully. The whole thing is,
but our daughters could be living underground.
Yeah. It's possible.
But the way that we know the world right now is done.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. I'm not saying it in some way, but I believe that we have done irreparable damage, and something either awful or fantastic is going to happen to change the narrative. Because the narrative right now is that the fucking California is going to fall in the ocean, and we're going to get attacked by nuclear weapons, and all of our food is killing us, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just everyone's oh, the government. And it's no, dude, blame it on whoever you want. But at the end of the day, we all fucked this up.
Yeah.
It's no one else's fault. Yes, we enabled this shady ass cell over here to exist. It's the most I'm going to go down your political fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah.
The thing is, you have to understand is because of that, there's going to be a bad before a good.
And I agree. I think something unfortunately awful is going to happen.
They will not just let you have it back. They're not just going to give it away. And it takes all of us to wake up. And
with these?
Right. Well,
he's showing his guns for the listeners. That's what he's doing. He's showing his guns that aren't that big.
But the thing is, you just got to be good to each other.
Yeah. We're all human beings.
Help each other out.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny, though, is that with this whole helping humans thing, I think the main catalyst to destroy that entire wonderful thought process is trust and pride.
Yeah.
people don't fucking trust each other because we've all been burned so many times that we think everyone we know is going to fuck us in the end.
Well, and honesty.
But
need honesty
on top of that
too.
too, like now we have relationships where, just to use as an example, Chevy, you and I are new friends, right?
Right.
I'm a guy, you're a girl, right? I'm married, you're single, right?
Hell yeah.
A lot of people could look at that and go, that's sketchy waters, right? But I have you over here with my wife here. You know, there's obviously...
I just cut your daughter's hair.
You just cut my daughter's hair. You did an awesome job.
Thank you.
So like, but those kind of things, like, why does that stigma even have to exist? Why can't it just be that you're dope, I'm dope, I like being around you, you semi-like being around me, we do this project together, and then we go about our own fucking business.
I semi-like being around you.
It's just like, no, but my point is like,
Debatable.
everyone
It's debatable.
creates an agenda in their head, and the agenda or that perception becomes the fucking facts, and then it's like, you're just the martyr, and you're like, dude,
But
I hardly even know Chevy. I just met her, and she's like, I don't even find Jay attractive, and then that's where we're left. But outside looking in, people are like, oh, why is that married guy hanging out with single girls on Monday nights?
This
blah,
is
blah,
just
blah.
an example. This isn't actually like
No, this
happening.
isn't. No,
Okay,
she
cool.
could be less interested in me. I'm just using you as an example. But those things happen, especially, unfortunately, not to like, oh, woe is us, me and Todd. It happens to guys a lot. You know, like it's so many douchebag dudes have ruined it for guys that have legitimately platonic relationships with females. It has to be about something all the fucking time. And it's like, why? Why can't I just enjoy the company of another person with no fucking shady ass agenda? You know why? Because we've created mistrust. And then that mistrust leads to all these
I
other
think girls
things.
do it too. Girls absolutely do it too.
It's not that girls don't do it, but I think you're more you as a whole you represent the entire female population.
I mean, I do?
Yeah.
Then we're fucked.
No, I just think that like girls kind of like get off the hook a little bit more than the guy would in the analogy.
Is it because we have boobs?
Well, everyone loves boobs.
Less
but
expected. It's
like
expected for the guy to go fuck anything that walks.
Yes,
not
and it's not expected for the girl to do that. Which is also hypocritical. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying like...
Very hypocritical. I've met plenty of girls that will fuck anything that's walking around. So,
oh, yeah. I know more slutty girls than I knew slutty guys,
exactly.
for sure.
So, especially...
Not that I'm judging. Slut around all you want.
Slut is an empowering word. Don't hate on it,
I've
please.
known
Thank you.
more non-monogamous women
There we go. Thank you.
than I
appreciate that
have
one.
non-monogamous guys, and I have the exact same, if not more, respect for them for owning and taking control of their bodies. Doesn't make them fucking weak or doesn't make them untrustworthy. It doesn't make them shady. It just makes them fucking people. That's where I get frustrated.
We're just people, man.
It's a long ass rant.
Yeah, cool.
Well, you nailed it on the head. Is people put their own perception in their minds,
Yeah, that's
and if people
absolutely true.
realize that, then maybe they can actually start thinking for themselves instead of what other people tell them.
It's like we've all seen the movie Inside Out, right?
Yeah.
That scene, totally innocent, on the train where she spills the two boxes, right? And she's like, oh, facts and opinions. I get them mixed up all the time. And the guy's like, oh, it's all right. No one cares. And it's totally true.
Yeah, it is
we
true.
do that all the time.
I totally forgot about that part.
Yeah, I present my opinions to Natalie as facts. And she, in her head, is like, fucking Jay, just rambling about his bullshit. But I believe that they're facts.
Yeah.
But I'm not entitled to believe that. Nothing, just because I say them out loud doesn't make them any more fucking true or false, but I believe they're facts, so they're facts. And that's the way we present most of our debates now.
Well, that's because most anything you read on the internet, you don't know what's.
Well, don't you know,
fact.
Natalie? If
I know,
it's
I
on
read
the
online that
internet,
you were a brunette.
Yeah, if
I was
it's
like,
on the internet, it's
fake.
definitely true.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's so accepting.
was a
Everyone's
joke.
a sponge. They just want to accept whatever's presented to them. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, fucking Jay said it. That means it's true. You know, or I read it on Facebook. That means it's true. And then they go tell 5 people, like, dude, did you hear about this?
Did you hear about
Dude,
did
when
you
I
fucking
put
hear
something
about
on
this?
Facebook, like, my friends get seriously.
Oh yeah, I see your post, man, and I see the comments on it.
Yeah, what the
Ooh,
fuck? So I
crazy.
did this post this week, totally innocent, but I meant it. And I was like, enough with this bullshit argument about minimum wage. People that work minimum wage jobs are not meant to have them to support families on. They're entry level jobs, right?
The workforce.
Yeah.
And like, so 45 fucking, I could post about this show all day, every day, and get like 3 or 4 comments. Like, it was all right. That Natalie Skyy chick sucks. Whatever it is, right? But I post about minimum wage, and it's like,
oh, you just
I was like,
on me too.
sorry. I was like, I told my wife, I was like, Mrs. Infamous, look at all the comments I got. And she's like,
flipping through
flipping
everything.
for like 5 minutes until she gets to the bottom. And she's like, what? Why would he say that about you? I'm like, which one are we talking about?
It's like your comments became telephone.
Yeah, facts.
Nobody's reading anything that you actually posted.
Right. And then like they get like negative. They're like, Jay, ignorant, idiot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, I didn't say anything bad about you or your opinion. I let all of you and engage for you to have this respectful debate. Why the fuck am I ignorant? Just because I don't agree with what you think, that makes me ignorant. I didn't say you're ignorant for not believing what I think. What the hell? And it's the same thing with like, that's why religion, going back, bringing it all back to what we're talking about. Most of the anger and angst and like anti-religion movement comes from the fact that somebody somewhere in most people's lives has forced religion on them. And that was the moment in their life where they went, breaks, I'm good. I don't want to be a part of this. And had that not happen, who knows? Who knows what we all... Chevy might even be a practicing Jew if it weren't for that.
Well, actually, I recently became more interested. I'm sorry, I had an itch. Recently, I became more interested in my
heritage.
My heritage.
I do have to point out that Chevy is wearing a shirt that says "Let's summon demons."
It says
with a
activities
laying
for children
on a devil cross.
It looks like the cover of an Atari game.
It does.
Seancing.
I didn't even realize I put this on this morning and that we were going to be talking about heaven and hell.
You had to Google heaven, but you're wearing
But I'm
that
wearing
shirt.
Let's Summon Demon shirt. I love this
Activities for children.
That's what it says.
Let's summon
It's like Fun with
children.
Dick and Jane.
It's
I love this
exactly
shirt.
that book. Right
Don't
there.
worry. Next week I'll wear my other one that says like Adventures of the Magic Mushroom, which we all know I love mushrooms. No, but recently I became more interested in my Jewish heritage because it's being Jewish.
What made you become more interested in it?
Honestly, it was my ex-boyfriend being interested in wanting to celebrate Hanukkah, and like he came to Passover with us, and which I thought was really weird. He's like, "Oh, let's celebrate Hanukkah." I'm like, "Why? It's fucking 8 days. That's a lot of work, and I don't remember
So
the
many
prayer.
candles.
It's so many candles." But I would just like Google things, and one of my clients, she came in and she said, "Oh, did you know it's a Jewish holiday today?" And I'm like, "Nope, but let's Google it so I can go home." Like.
But so
I'm
so
Jewish
respectful,
as I
genuine
wave my
curiosity.
hand. Yeah, it was just curiosity.
Spiked your curiosity.
I had another ex-boyfriend who we were actually engaged, and he.
That was pretty casual there.
Yeah,
you just slid that in.
Sorry, slip that in.
Yeah. You were engaged.
Yeah, we'll talk about it another day.
Future episode.
Okay, he proposed to me, which was stupid, and then he got
first mistake.
like back into his religious faith, which was Christianity, and really into Jesus, and I was like, dude, I'm Jewish. Like, even if I were religious, it would be Jewish. Yeah. Jesus ruined my life, my life specifically.
Yeah,
he came back just for me.
All those nays that
all
he did,
of them, motherfucker. But he told me one day, he's like, nothing would make me happier if you were Christian. And I'm like, well, I'm never going to be Christian, so sorry, dude.
I don't mean
that is the most.
Anybody, but that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
I agree. I completely agree. Guess what?
School,
broke up with him.
Right. When I was in high school, I went to that Mormon high school as I was telling you about. I asked one girl out, and she told me she could not date me because I was not Mormon. I never spoke to another girl in that school.
Wow.
I was out of that school as fast as I could.
That was Todd's boy.
I had two best friends in junior high and high school. They were twin boys, and they were very, very Mormon. And
define very, very Mormon.
They, their parents were very strict on their beliefs and their religion, and to the point where they weren't allowed to come to any gatherings that had girls there, which I thought was insane. Because how are you going to raise somebody with any proper social skills? So
for a religion that hates the gays, they sure do lean that way.
Yeah, it's strange, but
it's funny how lots of religions hate the gays, but then you have these
so stupid.
But it's all the same religion. Like, if you're gonna get religious, I'm gonna yell now. if you're gonna talk about religion, it's all the same religion. It's the same God. It's the same shit. It's the same shit.
It's the same
So
exact
why
shit.
are we all being divided by politics, by sports teams, by religion? Everything is being
because,
separated.
like Todd said, there has to be a wedge.
Oh, it's so stupid.
That's the thing, is
So
because
that
they
we
divide
can't
you
all
up.
unite
And
on
that's
an
what I
idea.
was going to say after you were done. It was like you were getting back into Judaism or whatever. Anybody that wants to get into religion, get into it, man. Look it up. Get into it.
Get into
all of them.
See if it's
look
right
at this
for
one,
you.
then look at that one. Get deep into it. Not what the fucking bullshit pastor tells you. Get deep into it. Look at the readings and read your shit and find that they all point to one direction.
Yeah,
they're all the
that's
same
all it is.
across the board. They're all the same. But it's a matter of what they've told you over time, because now it's a political thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a money thing. It's
It is.
power thing.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
I
And
hate
so
it.
therefore now religion has turned into a cult versus a spirituality.
I'm just going to become a Satanist, but not really.
But then you're defining yourself to a religious corner again.
I know, that's right. You know what? I'm not going to do that.
No labels.
No labels. I
Well,
don't like
here's
to
the
be
thing about
labeled.
Satanists, and I'll talk about that just real quick because I know we're about to be done because we didn't get into the angels part. But Satanists,
Damn,
right?
sorry, everyone.
So people talk about Satanists and being a devil worshiper, right? Lucifer was
A fallen angel.
Was a fallen angel,
Mhm.
and he was cast away by God because he crossed God by giving humanity the knowledge.
Mhm.
Because he was what in the Bible he was the serpent that gave Adam and Eve the apple to eat, which
To give them a choice.
which gave them knowledge of choice, right? So is he really bad?
No.
Like he gave you the knowledge of what
Nah,
God
he
was
cool.
really going on, what was really happening, and God cast him away. So now he's projected as being this evil person. He's the bad guy because he crossed God. He did what he wasn't told to do, and he was cast away for it. But now we're to believe that God is almighty and great, and Lucifer is the evil one. But yet he gave you the knowledge to know it.
We should all just watch the show Supernatural. That's all we need to do, and we will.
It's been on since you were in diapers.
That's not true.
It's been on for 14
It's-
years.
Is it 14
Yeah,
years?
it's disgusting.
How old do you think I am?
26.
I'm going to be 30 next month.
Okay, well, we gotta do something ridiculous for your 30th.
Just, I'm going to be in New York.
Oh,
For
God.
my
I was
30th.
thinking like Beetlejuice strippers and rave music.
That'll be in New York for 100%.
I was going to do it in the backyard.
Oh, you're going to do it in the backyard?
Yeah.
And a dingery-doo.
In the didgeridoo? Didgeridoo?
I'll make sure Augie
What is
does
it
the
again?
didgeridoo
Yeah.
for you.
All right, how about this? The
Gives you
week
the
before I
didgeridoo-doos.
leave, you guys can
Go
dress
balls out?
as
I can do whatever I want?
Beetlejuice.
Oh, yes.
You can do whatever you want for my birthday.
Perfect, because we're like a 2 on the friendship scale, so I could throw the weirdest shit ever, and it would be, he doesn't really know
We're
me
a
that well.
2 on the friendship scale? Out of
Well,
what's the scale?
10.
10?
I mean, we don't really know each other that well, so I could throw whatever the fuck I want, and I'd have the handicap of going, he doesn't really know me that well.
Yeah, but I mean, I like anything.
It's
I mean,
true.
I do mushrooms every fucking weekend. Anyway, we should all
That's
just
on
watch
there now forever.
whatever. Hi, Mom. You know I do mushrooms. You know I have threesomes. It's fine.
Chevy's mom, by the way, thank you for the awesome comments.
Yeah, my
Thank you for
mom.
supporting your daughter.
My mom shares everything
Yeah,
that
everything.
I do. It's really cute.
She added me as a friend.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, she's like, my daughter's on your show now. I was like, no, she's on the show.
That's
It's on
on
mine.
the show, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
on
that's sweet.
It was really cute.
She'll like this episode.
But
Anyway,
on that note, we are
just
going
watch
to
Supernatural.
we're going to wrap it up for the night. A couple big things. First and foremost, I just want to say congratulations to all of our LGBTQ friends that are part of our show. We stand with you. We support you. It's been a huge month. You can make donations to Human Rights Campaign at hrc.org, which is a great campaign that supports equality in every sense of the word. So we encourage you to go check it out. If you have been listening to the show for a while, you know that we stand and support the entire LGBTQ community.
Yes.
So congratulations on an awesome Pride Month. And we stand with you for the remainder of the year. Natalie, great job on your first show.
Yeah, congrats,
Yay.
Nat.
Welcome to the crazy family.
Yeah.
We're
so
like-
happy to be here.
We're like the family in the hills have eyes, but we talk on the radio.
Oh, we're all incestual and we're going to eat other people. That's so nice.
Todd, I know you have a couple more weeks with us left on the show, but this was the end of your farewell conspiracy series.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I appreciate it.
We've
Thank you
loved
so much.
having you as a part of the project. I've loved getting to know you as a friend. I just want to say that to your face and on air that this has been a very awesome byproduct of this Infamous Chronicles experiment.
It's been great, and I do appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Chevy.
Thanks for having
What?
me here.
Yeah.
Second episode on the
Yeah,
show. You've
did
done
it.
great.
We did it, guys.
Put that whole other project behind you for the better. We're happy
Don't
to
say
have
that.
you.
See, this is what happens when you have 2 drinks in you. You just,
No,
you
I meant
truth
it.
serum.
I meant it. Truth serum all night. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Follow us, the Real
Todd
TIC
is out.
podcast.
He is already out the door. Bye.
On Twitter and Instagram. We will be back next week for our 100th episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully the entire crew will be here, except Natalie. She's going to be out of town, but she'll be back the following week. So thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Infamous Chronicles. Our show is produced by Jeremy Elder, talent acquisition is done by Casey Moran, and operations directed by Paul Sinacori. This show is copywritten Infamous Works, LLC, 2016. All rights are reserved. All of our guests appear signed via waivers. We don't own the rights to any of the music featured on our show. We are just fans of it. Visit us at infamousworks.com or call our offices at 844-4-INFAMOUS.